It is easy for us to recognize art. Simply put, art is pretty to look at. It evokes some emotion or compels certain thoughts. For those of us that game, we can quickly point out the artsy games from the, shall we say, less artistic games. And yet, for those of us that don't game, the general concept of a video game often shoves aside these artsy games to instead perceive video games as an immature source of entertainment rather than as an actual piece of art. However, video games are in fact works of art, and it's time for us to recognize the new and revolutionary art form. We all know art. It can be paintings, music, plays, books, movies, etc. And we recognize art through these mediums. I intentionally use that word, medium, because art has to exist as a singular thing that we watch or hear. I know all of this is common sense. Yes, we must behold the beauty for it to be beautiful, but what if we can go a step further? What if instead of beholding art, we could in some way become a part of it? Not only immersing ourselves, but moving, changing, molding the art around until we become part of the piece and part of the story. Well, I'd like to talk about Journey. Us gamers already recognize the game as a sort of artsy-fartsy, maybe even the first popular artsy-fartsy video game. For the rest of us, think of Journey as simply that, a brief journey. The story of the game is fun to explore, but for the sake of preventing spoilers and to not pander for time, I'm not going into an in-depth story analysis. The game itself takes a few hours to finish, and much like a piece of art, nothing is really obvious or explicitly written. The only straightforward aspect of the game is you, the character that you control, and I say you because, well, it's you. You control the character in much the same way that you control your actual body, just more streamlined. And holy shit, that's a big deal. Already, we have transitioned into becoming a part of the art ourselves. We are not only perceiving the beauty, much like other art forms, but living inside it, and our actions are changing the art itself. We glide, we travel, we take the journey up the mountain. It is us, our actions, personified and simplified, which lets us take a brief moment to look around and admire our surroundings. Other mediums cannot allow us to experience what video games can: beauty in a moment. And so, Journey shows us through simple travel what all games are capable of. We are placed into these worlds where we can experience moment after moment of ubiquitous beauty. Our interactions and our perspective offer limitless potential for art to be found, which in turn evokes a unique sense of freedom and awe, a feeling that can only be replicated efficiently with video games. Beauty in a moment, not just an image. As an endnote, almost every video game ever created encapsulates this idea. I even joked about CSGO, but that can still be artful in its own way. I picked Journey specifically because it's a more obvious choice for art, and because the game itself is simple and easily recommended to people who don't game. I'd also like to note this video is pretty short compared to other animated explainers, partly because I'm new, and mostly because I've said my piece. Video games are works of art, and then some. The specialty is in creating moments of personal beauty with more freedom and interactivity than any other art form. But yeah, like and subscribe and all that nonsense. You know, people tend to zone out when listening to animated explainers, so maybe give this another watch.